All right, so welcome to our session here for putting together the Blackboard REST API and making sure that that stuff is working on everybody's systems. And so step one, we're going to set up the developer API account. So go ahead and navigate to developer.blackboard.com. All right, so developer.blackboard.com. A show of hands, who does not have a developer API set up yet on that portal? So go ahead and do that right now. All right. So developer.blackboard.com. If someone could like monitor Slack, and if there is a question that I need to respond, go ahead and let me know. All right. All right. So at this point, I'm going to log in with an account I already have. And by golly, I'm going to log in with a test account, so that way I'm not giving away all my secrets. But basically, once you log in, you'll have an opportunity to set up a new application. This is all just metadata, which means that you don't have to tell us what the application is doing, anything like that. However, your name will be seen by all the Blackboard administrators who are enabling your app later on. So at this point, you want to do add an app, and as people register, you'll be able to see, who is actually using your app. So once you have a registration, this application ID becomes something that you'll have to share with the Blackboard administrators. All right. So as the next step, you want to copy this value, put it somewhere in Notepad, because we will put it into the Blackboard administrator interface. Next, we're going to have to generate the secret key and secret. How's that? But they're both secret. So that's something that we will put on our end in the app. So let's try to manage application keys. There we go. And the reason why this is my test account is so that these keys obviously don't have any value. They don't point to any applications. But when you say plus, these are generated for you. So it's not a big deal. It's like a username and password that we're going to put on our app in the constants file. Okay, so from here we'll go ahead and press continue. So you have to have those 3 hash values: the application ID, then the key, and then the secret key. So you have 3 of them collected at this point. All right. So let's go ahead and do now this registration in Blackboard. So I will go ahead and log into our Blackboard system, and we'll go ahead and use username and password. You have to log in as an admin account, and then go to sysadmin panel, and then we're going to go under REST API. There it is, sort of right side of the screen, middle of the screen. We'll go ahead and click on that. Now, as you can see, we have done this step, which is great. Most of the time, these REST API rows represent permission that the administrator or the school gives to your company. Now, if I was an administrator, right, I would first vet, right, who you are, how you're going to use the system, and then most of all, when you go to create integration, you put the application ID that we just recovered from the Blackboard developer account. You want to use the Learn user. Learn user means Blackboard user. And we will just put admin here. So just go ahead and type in admin. But as a Blackboard administrator, I might think, okay, this application should have read-only access, all right? I might manipulate the permissions to only allow that. And maybe for needs of audit, like who deleted all my courses, right? For the needs of audit, you might want to track which user is doing what application. So maybe create one user per application that you have. We're taking a shortcut because we don't have all day here, so we're just going to say admin. You want? Should we take a little time for you guys to catch up with that, or Aaron, how you feel? You gonna be all right? No, I'm serious. So we don't have to be in a hurry. So go ahead and log into developer.blackboard.com. Now the good news is that since I'm recording this session, there's going to be a video download that you'll be able to take a look at. Now everybody who is actually on the Collaborate system, if you could mute your mics, I think someone is creating or preparing dinner. Yesterday I was in a Collaborate meeting and I went to the bathroom during the meeting, not knowing that it wasn't on mute. So it happens, but since we're going to possibly use the recording, that might be best. Okay, so question, yes. You're not putting the keys here, just the application ID. Yeah, so you can generate as many keys as you want to. All of them are current. As you can see, you can't see the secret one. You only see the secret one when you create it. So if you wrote them down, you can use the previous one as well. So the idea here is that for this application, you might have multiple interfaces, multiple servers running, and you choose to use keys. Most of the time, you probably want to rotate them once in a while, just like SSL certificates, so that as you back up your application, an application that's backed up 10 years behind, and then your backups get stolen, right, that your application keys aren't going with it, or at least the current ones. Okay, so that's where we are. We're going to select the application ID, and I will just show you the one that I created earlier on what it needs to look like at the end. So go ahead and put admin here. That's going to work fine. Question? All right, good question. So you go to the system admin tab. I'm going to navigate at the top. When you log into Blackboard, first you are under My Institution, which is sort of a very generic, well, it's not generic, but it is a role-based, something end users see. If you want to start using administrative functions, you go to the sysadmin part on the way right. Okay, and then mid-screen here, you see REST API integrations. That's where that's how you get there. Now, for anybody that's catching up right now, that's fine. I just want to say that you can actually run your own Blackboard Learn instance, okay, by downloading what's called a developer's virtual machine, and then through a program called Vagrant and VirtualBox, you can license Blackboard to run. Another way to run Blackboard in a really nifty way is through something called AMI, Blackboard AMI. And so let's see. Blackboard AMI is basically a service on Amazon Web Services where you just click buttons and it'll generate a server for you with all the appropriate licenses. Only you pay like 40 cents per hour, I think, to run it. Okay, so if you want to develop stuff for Blackboard Learn, and the course is over and you don't have access to our installation of Blackboard, you can definitely, with not a lot of resources, run your own piece. The developer machine requires a little bit of RAM, so at least 2 gigs of RAM and disk space, so the download it's like 6 gig or so. So that AMI option is not a bad idea, because when you turn it off, Amazon doesn't charge you, right? So it only charges you while you're running it. So it makes pretty good sense. Yes. Yes. Yep. So it does. It does. So AMI is basically a way through the Amazon marketplace. It's a way for Blackboard to first of all sell licenses, but on a like a on-demand way. And this is not meant to be run by schools, obviously in production, but by developers just to come up with ideas. And somewhere on the Blackboard community site, I have like a detailed step-by-step. Well, all right, let's find it. So here's AMI. And so they can have a smile. Yeah, there you go. So I wrote up here a little a post, basically giving you step by step on how to run your own AMI, and so it gives you some estimates also having to do with the cost. Right now, what I'm running for our class, it's actually quite a loud server in my office, but if you don't have something like that laying around, then you definitely want to just use this kind of AMI cloud setup. All right, Aaron, are you with us then? Okay, so at this point we've registered our app. The next step on the Blackboard end, okay, is going to be to set up the LTI link. However, before we do the LTI link, I think we need to set up our app, because it's better to copy and paste links than to type them in. All right, so let's go ahead and set up the app on our box. Now, if you were to look for instructions, then certainly there are instructions in our Blackboard site. So if I was to navigate to our class, all right, in week 5, I have some instructions here on how to download from GitHub the app, and then how to extract it, unzip it, and install on your system. So just as a reminder, I'll go through the process. So we will log in as a student, and we'll navigate to our installation of Apache, and I'll issue this command of wget. This is going to take us to GitHub. So let's go ahead and see how you would find that on your own. I think within our class, I did post the link to the project itself right here. So on GitHub, there's a project, open source project that was created for the Blackboard World 17 hackathon, where the requirement was you have to post your source code. So I did. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I came in second. What I didn't mention is that there were only 2 entries. All right. And so, to quote Talladega Nights, if you're not first, you're last, right? All right. Well, but that being, I'm not bitter. Maybe a little bit, but so the thing though is that we have the code here, and if you click on clone or download, then you right-click on download zip, do a copy. That's how you come up with the link to paste here in the wget command. And so we'll go ahead and download it. Size-wise, right, this is only a 144K file. So I told you in the past when we worked with compiling Apache and PHP, don't download it. But with 144K, it's okay, right? So we'll go ahead and download it. So right now I have my master.zip. I can go ahead and unzip it. This goes through. Let me bring this up here. Now I unzipped it. I have this directory called course games master. So my next command is to go inside of course master, and let's take a peek of what we have here. Let's preview. So the actual PHP code is in the course games directory. All right. So here's the last command to actually install our app. Move course games into home Apache htdocs. So this will move the PHP directory with actual code into my active directory, the htdocs directory. I'm not going to run it because I already have that. So I'll just retreat from this directory. So now we are inside of course games, and there is a place where we need to put in the secret and the not so secret. They're both secret, so it's like a key and a secret. All right. So we go ahead and we go into classes, and in classes there is a constants file. what I'm trying to figure out is whether or not this is a problem for me to show that, which I think I'll fix it. So what we'll do here is we'll go ahead and we'll copy. You don't have to do that. I'm just working this out on my own because I don't want to show you my secret stuff. So I'm going to grab a new copy of this file. It will be identical to the one that you have. Therefore, when I do VI on this, the key and the secret are not there, which is sort of nice, because the other ones were actually sort of mine. Okay, so at this point, we have to replace two variables, the key and the secret. A majority of this code comes actually from a demo or a sample code that Blackboard posted, and you know, they worked out the OAuth, so the authentication, the calls necessary for that, so that we only are going to plug in our key and secret at this point. Notice that I sort of overwrote this their demo code. We're not going to hard code the host name, right? So if the demo code basically said provide the host name of your own server, and it works fine. However, what if you're trying to advertise this application to many schools and you don't know the server name? What our code will do is it'll actually parse the URL they're connecting from and extract the host. All right, so that's why we're not going to put anything in host, and in the constructor we are overriding it. So at this point, let's go for a key and secret. And so I'm just going to perhaps ask for a volunteer to share their key and secret with me. You know, forget about it. I'm just going to go through the motion here. So here is a test app. Super. Let's go ahead and where are my manage keys? So add a new set. Not knowing how I'll use this video later, I think I'll just do that. I have my key. I'm going to put in my secret. All right, I'm going to save that, and of course, you all have done that a minute ago. But I need to take this application ID and I need to plug it in to REST API, create integration, pop that in, say admin, submit. Okay, so now my code is actually going to work, and I'm not afraid to show you the keys, so that works great. All right, is everybody with me? All right, so we'll go ahead and save that file. And at this point, we should have a working system. So what we enabled was our own developer identity. We then populated in the constants file the secret and the key, and then we populated in Blackboard permission for this application to work. Super. So here's the next step. Next, I need to figure out what my URL is. My URL is CIS371 9040 followed by course games. Now I can navigate to this URL, and this is what I should see. Please note that URLs are tricky in that our system actually does require, of course, the port number because we're all running off the same server, and you have to put the slash at the end. If you do not put the slash at the end, then on our Linux system, basically Apache will look for a file called course games and not a directory, when we actually want to execute index.php in this directory. So that slash at the end is key. In addition to the slash, if we were to read my instructions here in the in course games, notice that the URL that I am mentioning here has the question mark analysis equals true. I showed you last time in the code that basically enables the little buttons to go around. So what I will do here is I'll add that question mark analysis equals true. you hit enter, nothing should happen yet. But the reason why I want to have it here is so that I can copy and paste that into the next step. Notice that there's a slash and then question mark. Very important. The question mark basically says, go ahead and find index.html, and then afterward provide it with a number of parameters. So I'll copy my URL. Again, you should copy the URL only if you see this really cool icon. This takes me back to Atari days. Has anybody played Atari? Okay, do you know the name of this game? Pole Position. All right, an awesome game that. All right, so we'll go ahead and go to our Blackboard installation, and let's go ahead and go inside of the course. Now, inside of the course, we will use a specific menu here, the CIS371, and inside of it, we will build a link. So this is when we actually are creating the interface between Blackboard and our REST API app. So we'll go to build, go to, you have to go to create a web link. Now, the magic here is this. With what we are doing, using LTI, we basically have to tell Blackboard, even though we're calling it a link, you need to create a post form, and then when they click on the link, you will submit a form for them, so you can have hidden values, input, name, something, then type equals hidden. We use, for example, type equals password and type equals text, but you can have hidden, which means that it doesn't show to the user, but then the form is submitted and a post goes to our server. All right? So we're going to go to the web link. Now, in the web link, we'll go ahead and I'm just going to call it cool test, but if you want to call it gamification link or something that makes sense to the user to look at it, I think the idea there was to put something like a gamification leaderboard. And then we put in the URL. Now, when I click this is a tool link, magic happens. If this does not happen for you, there's another step you have to take, and that is you have to approve an LTI domain. Many of us are sharing the hop2.org domain, which is what I already did. I enabled it. But if you are using the other one, DNS something something or free IP, I'll show you another step where we will make that happen. But this enables an instructor to basically provide a link. Yes? Okay, are you using HTTPS? All right, do this. Go to Slack and paste in your URL. Say it again. All right, all right. All right, let's do one at a time here. So we're going to do a copy here, and let's uncheck that. Just so it doesn't seem like I'm cheating, let's go here to web link, and I'm just going to say test, and then we're going to put the web link in, and I'm going to say this is a tool provider. Is this Jake? Is that how far you got? So it did pop up for me. Okay. Wait a second. You're logged in as the same user as I am, and you're saying something else is coming up when you put in the same URL? All right, I'm gonna do the old style of actually walking over to your computer to see what the heck is happening, because
I know what he's talking about, the perlinks, but this is what it looks like.
Okay, let me just see here. So here you are. You go to web link, and then you have something here, and then we go here to paste, and now we put this in. Holy cow! So okay, yeah, that might be my fault. No, it couldn't be. Okay, so yeah, I might have screwed something up when I was setting up for yesterday. So let's go ahead and do things one step at a time. And in that matter, we're going to go to building blocks and to LTI tool providers. And what we'll do here is let's go to the hop2 and verify what's happening. So we have all kinds of hop2s, and let me delete this one. No, let's not delete it. So what we'll do is we'll say register provider domain, and here you can register either the domain or the entire FQDN. What I'm guessing is going to happen if we approve it like so, and then if we say, oh, I see. So you have the option here to set it globally or one at a time. And if you select set per each separate link, those two additional fields come up. It still doesn't make sense why the same thing came up differently in different browsers, but let's just give it a whirl. So now we have your domain. Let me verify what I did here for the general domain. See, I put that in, so that's what was happening. We're just gonna uncheck that so we all have the same experience. So I basically, for the demo to work yesterday, I had to set this up earlier on, and I think that's what messed some folks up. So so at this point, let's go ahead and navigate back to our class. And here we're going to create a new web link. All right, and the name is test, and I'm going to still use your URL. All right, when you go to recreate the web link right now, are you going to get the two fields? Yeah. So basically the idea is this: if you are licensing this application to a school and you're saying for $50,000 anybody at your school can use it, then you'll give them the key and secret, because you will generate the key and secret. We're not doing it for our app, but you can generate key and secret of any kind, and then you give it to them to put at the global area. So it means nobody at the institution has to worry what the key and secret is. But if you want to license it per instructor, because no one knows that you yet have this app, but you have an instructor who wants to try it, then they have to come in here and they put their license at this level. So we can just put like an AB here, or you can put something like license. This is not going to affect our functionality. Yes. Yes. So this has to be your own URL, and it has to point to the course games index file, which we are accomplishing that by providing that slash at the end. We also have the question mark analysis, which means that we'll have extra buttons. All right, so Jake, I'm going to switch to my URL now from yours. All right, and so now let's go ahead and put license 1, and let's press submit. So this is my link, and I'll try to click on it, see what in the world is going to happen. All right, so some magic is happening. Hamster are working. It worked for me. Yes. Okay, so you have to create the link in Blackboard. You will navigate to my institution. You will then navigate to the course. It's a little class that we created there, and I populated with some content. And then there's a menu at the very top. I created a content area for our links to come up. And so then you go to build content and the web link. Okay, So then you click on web link and then you paste in, so you put something here and then you paste in your URL, and then you have to select this little button here. Okay. Okay. Well, what comes up blank? Okay. Okay. Well, so what you're saying is it was working for me, but it's not working for you. Now that's normal. Oh, the link is not. You might have to. What did you call it? Okay. All right. So all right, Kevin. Let's take a look at why that might have happened. Let's just quickly recreate it. So go to build content. Yep. Web link, and then yeah, just put Kevin. You can change it later, and then paste in your URL. Super. And then select the link. All right, and then press submit there. Yep. Okay. Press OK. All right, and then scroll to the very bottom. Yeah, now it says invalid link, so that's not kosher. Go ahead and edit it and add the key and secret like an AB. Yes. This is actually okay. So your domain is registered, but at the global values, the key and secret are set. Now, whether you did that already, that's okay, or someone else might have registered for you that way, but this should work just fine. So go ahead and press submit, and that'll be okay. So at the link level, if the licenses are not showing up, the key and secret, that's not a big deal, because that means that maybe one of your peers has already set up that domain to be approved without the need to enter any licensing. Does that make sense? So, all right, super. So go ahead and click on your link. And you might have to click on launch. All right. So step number 2. So give me an example of a link that it's not working. Kevin, how about yours? All right. So what could be the reason that it is not working? Kevin. Notice that my browser automatically skips from one to the other. This form is automatically submitted. Some browsers, like Kevin's browser, waited. It did not auto-submit. And then you have to click on the launch link. That's just how it works in Blackboard. That's not your fault, and that's supposed to be fully intended. So, all right. All right, refreshing. Yes, question. No, so give me a minute. Remember this link right here? As long as this picture is showing, the link is correct. And it doesn't matter actually what's in there. As long as you're copying and pasting it, it'll be fine. So I have it in htdocs, which is why it says /course games. But if you have /Blackboard /course games, that's not a big deal. As long as you're consistent and you build your link in Blackboard that way as well. Does that make sense? Tell you what, wait a second. Let me fix Kevin's problem, and then we'll move on to the next one. Okay, so at this point, Kevin shows HTML tag, and Kevin is showing doc type, which means that parts are working. I'm guessing that maybe the key and secret aren't working. I'm guessing that you did not put quotes around it, but that's just because I've been around. See if I should be gambling in casinos. So home, give me your student number. 15. Sure. Home. Student 15. HT. Whoa. Okay. Apache htdocs, and you have course games here. You have classes here, and now your constants are. No, you do have quotes around it. Okay, give me a minute. So tail your log files. Magnavit. So okay. So tail home student 15 logs. File does not exist. That's okay. So this error, which really is not related to REST API, this error basically means that some browsers, like Internet Explorer was famous for it, is trying to look, all of them do by the way, are trying to find a favorite icon file, which is a picture. Picture then is added. See the little BB icon at the top here, and then whatever the buttons are here, and the little cat for GitHub, that's the fav icon. So this is not an error of an application, but if you want your bookmarks pretty, then you just add that file in that location. So that's not it, but there's another one right here. So it says failed. Oh yeah, so that makes sense. Let's see why. Aha. Yeah, okay, so I ran into that and I fixed it like in 5 minutes. I completely forgot that did not put that in instructions. But Norman, where's Norman? You're online. You're supposed to create a walkthrough to avoid these things. So here's what's happening. This REST API is using this extension called HTTP request 2, which is part of a pair project, which is like this gathering of really cool features, both for Perl and for PHP. So I went and installed it, and it's installed on the server, all right? So why isn't it working on your system? It's working on my web server. Why isn't it working on yours? That's it. So you have to let your PHP system know it's not actually an extension. We're going to have to include the pair projects in the include variable. So here is what's going to happen. We're going to Evan, I'm going to work on your system so that way it'll make sense. There is a file in your PHP directory under lib called php.ini. Now, for sanity, I'm just going to look at mine so that way we're not chasing syntax for a very long time. And basically, we have to use this variable include path, and then user share pair is where the HTTP2 extension is included. So what I will do is I'll paste that in Slack. All right, and then I will also put it in Blackboard because that makes sense. So as one of the steps inside of notes was my one of the steps here in our notes. Edit that, and let's say we're going to put that right after you get the application. We're going to say edit php.ini and add this line. Okay. Okay, update that. This looks fine. Submit it. So Kevin, let me work on yours so that way we have confidence that that is in fact what's wrong. No problem. So we are here, lib php.ini, and somewhere there's going to be an include. It really doesn't matter where this is done, but I prefer to put it right where that line is commented out. So obviously php.ini has a lot of options here. In the semicolon is a comment character, and so we will just go ahead and include user share pair. Now at this point, what do we have to do for this to work? Because if I resubmit, it's not going to make any difference. Yeah, Jake is right. So we have to restart the server. So, all right, we'll go ahead and log in as student 15, and we'll rerun the restart command. This restarts our server, and All right, let's see how this is going to work. Kevin, link, and something is happening, and there it is. All right. Eventually, it works. All right. I just have to remember what I did in the middle of the night when I was sort of playing with it. Okay. So this particular application draws the gradebook information, grade specifically, and student information through the REST API call. So notice that when you click through the browser, you're doing an LTI call. It's just a post form, but then, and it doesn't have to be immediate. I mean, now that our application was approved on that Blackboard site, in the middle of the night, you can pull all the data from them. So that's a little scary, all right? But they give you permission to use their data, and it so happens that in the blink of an eye from the click, we pull the data and display it, but we could set up some kind of a scheduled system. Here's a good example, and I forget, remind me who that is in class, but someone created that Python application to check for availability of classes at GV, and basically they are scraping the screen of the banner system, and then once they figure out when classes open and close, they can send you an email. Right, so it's sort of a useful application. But if you had REST API enabled, you wouldn't have to just scrape the screen, because once they change something, your application might fall. So instead, you are connecting to the REST API every 10 minutes if you want to, and then you check, is this class enabled now? Is this enabled? And when it is, you're good. All of that is done through web servers. So notice, we're not doing SQL access to the database. That's huge, because that means firewalls don't have to be edited. You want to get people angry. You walk in the room and you say, would you please open port such and such, like 3306 from MySQL? And the network administrators basically get really angry and throw things at you, right? So instead, because we are operating, well, in this instance, port 9015, but in a production system, that will be 443 for SSL. That's sort of the beauty of REST API, and that's why many organizations today go towards REST API, because the firewalls are open, everybody's comfortable with HTTP calls, and so we have now access to data through API, not directly into the database. All right, so this application, does a little JavaScript magic here that is not as important. I want you to know what the next step will be for us. Once you have this application running, you do the screenshots for the assignment, and that's fine. Next week, we're going to look at Amazon Alexa, and I'll show you how to create skills for it. But the learning lesson there will be that Alexa actually is going to connect to your web server, and it will look for text. Right, so if, let's say, you're trying to tell the student through Alexa what their grades are currently, you're not going to dress it up in JavaScript, pictures, or even HTML. It'll be just straight text. And so by projecting text to Alexa, you have her read it to the end user. That's the interface. So the data itself is in REST API. You can present it via HTML. You can dress up the data with CSS. You can dress it up with JavaScript. Why not have just audio interface, like through Alexa? But the bottom line is that the operations of PHP are going to be exactly the same. So next week's assignment will be to strip everything from this application and only display straight text of the name and the grade of the user. All right? By stripping the data down in this application, you'll learn a little bit about the underpinnings and how it works. Like, obviously it's not working, I removed too much. Or maybe there's some stray code that I didn't expect. All right, question. Okay, let me take a quick note. All right, so we are running out of time, but I am recording this, so you'll be able to catch the follow-up. So let me just, that's the wrong one. Okay, so in our assignment, so you definitely want to post everything obviously by Sunday, and then as you review other folks, you'll be able to look for those 3 features. Looking at the assignment, let me just remind you that we're using peer-reviewed assignments, and so due dates are extremely important. All right, I cannot accept late assignments. All right, because first of all, that's just a policy in the class. Second of all, it does mess with the peer review process. So that being said, let me look at the third option here. Yeah, so basically I wanted you to take a screenshot of your link because there will be 35 links in that content area. So that way, these are screenshots, but if I wanted to go and check that that's actually working, then I would know which link to click on. All right? All right, question. Okay, so if you go to Blackboard, our course in week 5, under notes, you'll find it was include path. And so just copy and paste this line where it says include path in your system. All right, I'm going to look at Slack. Anything burning in Slack, Josh or Wesley or Ethan? Okay, so you use the set include path. All right, very nice. All right, Norman is doing all right. Wesley's having, you still having an issue, Wesley, then? All right, Wesley, what student number are you? Okay, 10. So let's take a peek at your application. So we'll do this. Student 10, and we're going to quickly. Okay, is everybody all set then? All right, I'm gonna stick around here, but if you want to move on, that's fine. Okay, Wesley. So let's look at your system here. We're going to go under. Okay, htdocs, course games, and classes. And in classes, we have constants. Okay, you have these 2 sets, so that's Dendley. All right, Wesley, let me look at your. Let's kill some of these. All right, and Wesley, which one is your link on this list here? Can you point me to that?
It's CIS371.
Okay. Okay, the bottom one. So I'm going to click on it just to see what's happening here. And let's go ahead and view page source. So it appears to me that maybe you just need to restart the server. Go ahead and do that while I'm checking one more place here. Yeah, Wesley, did you restart? All right. So Dagnabbit, you said that you restarted. Let me just check on this here. Okay, that's not going to work. Let's do that. Let's go back here. And let's go here and let's restart that process. So let's check on what's going on. Coming out. All right, Wesley, give me just a second. I'm going to continue with you momentarily. All right. All right, we just have to evacuate the class, that's all. All right. All right, let's sit down outside. Let's just sit down outside. We'll figure it out. Sorry about that. All right, so Wes, I'm still here. We're just moving to the outside of the class. All right, so you're student 10, and let's go with Apache bin patch control stop, and let's just make sure that this is stopped. It is stopped. So from here, what is it possible that include, because that would be the only reason why it's not running. Include path. Okay, hey Wesley, you've got to start spelling things right. So I'll add the A for you here, and we'll bounce a patch one more time, and then we'll go ahead and. All right, you're all set then. All right, no problem. All right, so I'm going to disconnect at this point, and we'll take it from there. All right.